Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Guys and a Mic. I'm Jason.
And I'm Dan.
And today is, 28th of January? Something like that? 27th of January. Wow. How time flies, huh?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Man.
We're waiting for a big snowstorm coming up.
Oh, yeah. What are we doing? We're looking at 5 to 10 inches or something like that?
They're looking 6 to 12 now.
6 to 12. Yeah. Oh, thank goodness the snowblower works. All right. Well, it's going to be an interesting show today. Lots to talk about. And why don't you go ahead and introduce who we're going to be?
Well, I would like to take this time right now to introduce a fellow patriot, retired United States Marine. He's also a YouTube sensation. We'd like to welcome Steve Motley to the show. Hello, Steve.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
We can hear you excellent. Mr. Motley, you started a YouTube channel. Could you tell us how long ago you started it, and what made you decide you wanted to start a YouTube channel?
Great, that's a good question. Thanks for asking. I had a lot of friends through the years that had said, Steve, you need to start a YouTube, or you need to start telling stories, about your career in the military and different things you've done. And I just kind of kept procrastinating, didn't really want to do it, wasn't disciplined enough. And then a good friend of mine prompted me to go to San Diego 2 years ago to a convention that's held every year about this time at the convention center. It's called the Social Media Marketing Expo. And it's a group of the best social media marketers from all over the world, and they convene in San Diego once a year, and they have these different workshops and things. And my friends actually paid for the event. They just said, you get your butt down here, we'll give you the ticket. You go and learn, we want you to go to all the YouTube classes and, what's that other thing, Periscope. Anything streaming video, because they knew I had been involved in video email way back since 2001.
Oh.
Right after 9/11, I got involved with my first video email company. It was called VM Direct, and it was based in Las Vegas, Nevada. An old friend of mine named Richard Call had bought the company. He was originally from Long Island. He had made millions and millions of dollars in network marketing. He started out in real estate, then became a broker, and then he got involved in network marketing, made his millions, and he had ended up retiring out to Vegas. And the opportunity presented itself, and so Richard bought this up-and-coming streaming video company. This was one of the pioneers in what we would call today streaming video. Back in those days, back in 2001, we forget how far we've come so fast, but back then, we were still mostly on analog and dial-up stuff, and if you were sending a video to somebody, it may take you 30 minutes or an hour to download it,
Right.
And it was just archaic. Everything was so slow. And, nowadays it's like almost instant, the streaming video. So we've come a long way. But anyway, I got a call one day. I was actually back in Virginia, and Richard called me, and he says, hey, Steve, he says, I'm launching this company out here in Vegas Saturday, and he said, I want you to be one of the founding members. Well, when one of the richest guys tells you to come, get involved, you don't ask any questions. And I had to jump through some hoops and get on a plane real quick. But I made my way to Vegas, and we had this launch at the New York, and that was where Richard unveiled to the world this VM Direct, Video Marketing Direct. And, he was a visionary of sorts. He knew that it was going to be the next big thing. And it is. And it still baffles me to this day how many people are not using streaming video. I get questioned all the time. They say, you know what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people will say, Steve, you win these recruiting contests and these different companies and stuff, and how is it you do it? What's your secret? I say streaming video. I mean, it all goes back to streaming. This is 2019, guys,
Right.
If you're not using streaming video in some way, shape, or form, and you're involved in something where you're trying to either promote yourself, like Two Guys on a Mic, which, by the way, I'm going to really keep promoting you guys. I appreciate what you do, and I wanted to thank you for having me on the show today. This means a lot to me. Thank you a lot. But anyway, I don't want to. I'm sorry.
Before you go on, we got some people that are already calling, And to those people, they're muted right now. We're going to unmute them in a little bit, but we want to talk to Steve here for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to open up the line so you guys can ask him some questions. Okay, so stay on the line. Stay on the line.
And just remember, anybody who's calling in, you be respectful. If you're disrespectful or using swear words of any kind, we will be hanging up on you immediately. But before I forget, Steve, I want to get this out there. We're talking to Steve Motley today on our show. If you would like to call in and ask Mr. Motley a question in about 10 minutes or so, the number you're going to be using is 605-472-5384, and the PIN number is 161335. Now, Mr. Motley, if you, I want to ask you a few questions real quick. A lot of your videos, one of the greatest things that you see behind you is the United States flag. You are the patriot. You're actually, believe it or not, we have President Trump who is speaking for the people, but Mr. Motley, I feel, in my own opinion, is you are the people. You're speaking on subjects that a lot of people are thinking about. I notice also behind you, you have a sign that says QAnon. Can you explain to the people what QAnon is?
Yeah, QAnon is the president himself and a group of people within the White House that work very closely to him. It's basically, to just sum it up, it's a back channel information modality that the president uses to speak to the people. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of people. Well, that's not true. The Q phenomenon is growing by millions, I'm sure, around the world, from what I can tell. However, it's not for everybody. It's for those people that are intelligent enough to be able to take the time and try to decipher and decode what Q is saying. They're military operatives, for one thing. And so a lot of the stuff that's coming out through HN there is military code. And so it has to be broken down, it has to be analyzed, and then again, a lot of it's disinformation. And Q has told us that. Anybody interested in Q, I would encourage them to go to the website and read the first 20 Q posts starting in October, latter part of October 2017. And those first 20, if you can really understand what you're reading there, you'll have about 90% of the gist of what QAnon is. But again, it's a back channel communication. This is what I've deduced, and I was probably one of the first 3 or 5 people that got on board with Q. So, I've had a long history with it, and a lot of people have jumped off the Q train just like they have the Trump train for whatever reason, but not me, because I understood in the beginning, early on what Q really was. And so I had, when people started saying it was a live action role player, LARP, or AI, or PSYOP, I just blew that off. I said, you guys are absolute idiots. You don't know what you're talking about. So, and I think, speaking of my YouTube channel, let me just say this real quick. So I wanted to close this loop. I went to San Diego, and there I did go to these classes in YouTube. And the one thing I kept hearing over and over, from these young millennials, no matter who they were, that were having success on YouTube, I kept hearing, be yourself, be authentic. People like people that are authentic. You don't need to put on airs or any kind of pomposity or act like you're somebody that you're not. Just be yourself. So that's what I did. I launched my YouTube on the 16th of February, 2017. Is that right? So 18, 19? Yeah, 17. Right. 2017. And it was actually the firing of General,
Petraeus?
Mike, what's his name?
Petraeus, was it?
I'm having not Pence.
Petraeus.
Oh, the 3-star general, our hero. What's his name?
Oliver North?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. This is 30 questions. We're going to run through 30 questions. No. Oh, my God. I never do this.
Mad Dog Mattis?
No. Army 3-star general.
Okay.
Fired by Trump.
Trump?
All the audience is saying his name. What's his name? The 3-star Army
If you know it, put it in the comments, the comment section there. In the
Everybody
chat.
knows it. It's going to come blasting in. Watch.
Yeah, we do have a
Don't
chat
believe this.
line, so anybody wants to ask a question also.
This is insane.
Fired by Trump. Well, let's see here.
Yeah.
General fired by Trump.
Three-star general. He was Defense Intelligence Agency.
Michael
He was
Flynn?
the head of the Michael Flynn. Oh my God. Michael Flynn. Shit. Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right. That's all right.
All right. Well, Michael Flynn got fired, and that was it. That was the last straw with me. You know, I was like, it was building up, and I was reaching this crescendo, and then finally I said, that's it. I'm starting my freaking YouTube channel tonight. And so I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even hardly know how to turn on the camera. But I got it turned on. I'm using a little Apple iPad. That's how I film all my YouTubes. And I just went over 1,000 videos just the other day. So it's been a journey. It's been crazy. I thought I'd get 20 people. That was my original goal. I wanted 20 subscribers. And I figured, man, if I could get 20 people that watch me on a regular basis, I'd be like happy as a pig and do. You know, it was great, man. It was awesome. And now it's just taken off. And I think Q had a lot to do with that. When Q came on, I started doing some of the early analysis, you know, and then guys like Prey and Medic and, you know, my buddy Mike, Space Shot 76, guys like that started coming on. And I said, you know, I'm going to let them run with that. I'm going to get out of that scene. And I just started dealing more with like daily events, you know, current events and, you know, things that I was getting some inside scoop on that not everybody was privy to, things like that. Well, so it's been a wild ride, man, but thanks to people like you, I appreciate your support.
You're very welcome. Speaking of current events, you just posted a video not too long ago about Trump putting the screws to Nancy Pelosi. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Well, you know, I think we've reached a tipping point, you know, in America. You know, we all have a breaking point, you know, where the stupidity gets to the point where we just can't take it anymore.
Correct. And
it's quite obvious right now what they're doing. You know, Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, that whole gang of demon rats, they're all obstructionists. You know,
exactly.
The only thing they want is the destruction of America. And I think there's enough people now that are awake, you know, and we are all in the process of the Great Awakening. You know, Qanon, that's another thing Q has told us repeatedly, is that we, the people that understand where we are, and we need to be able to cast a wide net and catch these poor people when they fall, because they're falling left and right now because they're waking up and they just can't believe what's going on and how they've been duped all their life. But Nancy Pelosi has reached the point where she's such a freakazoid, you know, in everything she does, that the American people are just going, enough of this craziness, just absolutely enough. Build the wall, build the freaking wall, you know. And so, yeah, Trump is kind of, you know, with the shutdown, that's why he did it. You know, there were multiple reasons why he shut down the government. But one of them was to show the people how stupid the Democrats are. Because, you know, I love when the president gets up now, just about every speech, he talks about common sense. He says, listen, friends, it's common sense. You lock the door of your house to protect the people inside. You build a wall to protect the people in America. You know, I mean, it's not rocket science, you know.
Right.
But I think we're making a difference. Guys like you with your podcast, and anybody, you know, I always call my friends, I mean, the people that view my videos, I say, you can get involved. You can sound off in your own way. You don't necessarily have to have a YouTube channel, but anything you do, Twitter, Gab, Facebook, I mean, you got an opportunity to make a difference. And I never realized that. I had no idea what I was doing until I started getting emails. You wouldn't believe it, guys. I've gotten emails from people that were one time on the left side of the fence. And they said, Steve, I just got to thank you. You know, you, among many others, have contributed to my awakening, you know, and yada, yada, yada. And that gives you a good feeling, you know, when you know that you've done a little something to maybe awaken somebody from a stupor and have them realize, you know, that life is not exactly as we think it is, and that you need to sometimes break down your paradigms and your old belief structures especially when you're exposed to new information you've never heard before. But so many people see they got that built-up paradigm, and they just know they're right. Don't tell me nothing. I know everything. Well, once you get past that stage and you let yourself down and you humble yourself enough to open your mind to listen, then
Right. Now, are we back?
Yeah.
Steve, one of the things that my opinion, obviously, is some of the Republican backers right now are saying, "Oh, President Trump caved in. He caved in to the Democrats, by signing a temporary opening of the government." But actually, in my perspective, I saw that Trump opened it up because the United States Coast Guard needs to get paid. Some of these other federal workers need to get paid. But what the Democrats are not clicking into their heads is, hey, okay, we're opening it up for 3 weeks, but you guys better make a decision on helping with this wall. Otherwise, I'm just going to declare a national emergency, and I'm going to build it myself. Do you see that happening also?
Absolutely. I see that happening. Look, people got to understand Trump is a genius. He is
Absolutely.
He is always 4 steps ahead of everybody else. I read The Art of the Deal in 1987, 88 when it first came out. Mm-hmm. And I started, and if you read that book, if you go back and read The Art of the Deal, his first book he wrote, you'll understand Trump. And then when you see the things he does, and then I've obviously studied him a lot more since then, but I followed him all through the years. I've been a Trump fan all my life. I like the guy. I resonated with him. Some people say he was brash. I knew about Roy Cohn, his lawyer friend.
Right.
Trump's dad was a member of the John Birch Society. And
okay.
If you know the John Birch, that's a great organization. They're not a bunch of freaks. They're just American patriots that have tried to open the minds of people for many years and sound the alarm. And, they're a great organization. I love their magazine called The New American. And if you haven't seen that, that's a good one to check out. But anyway, Trump's dad started to indoctrinate him into the right way of thinking at an early age. And, he toyed around with being a Democrat, and he acted like he was a little wishy-washy. Maybe he was during his younger years, but he always had a vision of what could be accomplished. And I don't think he knew the depth of the deep state and, how entrenched they were. I don't think any of us did. I know I did. I've been studying, since 2001, 9/11 was my wake-up call, and
right.
Since that time, I don't know if you guys are aware, but I'd like to give my website out on that 9/11 thing if I could.
Sure.
You
Would that
sure
be
can.
Okay?
Yep.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, it's called themaninthemagahat.com. I think everybody can remember that. Themaninthemagahat.com. That was an interview I did down in Las Vegas back in September with a group of guys from Southern California that were aware of my YouTube channel, and some of them watched my videos, and they asked me if they could interview me. They wanted to do a short interview and get it out on the YouTube, and I said sure. And so they asked me things about 9/11, and I think it's a good video. It's short, but it's a great video to introduce people to that are just starting to awaken or maybe just starting to question the whole 9/11 scene. And relative to that, I just want to say that people that, want a red pill and figure out what's really going on, I always say start with 9/11. Once you get that check in the box and you fully understand that was an inside-outside job. Mm-hmm. Now, what do you mean, Steve, inside-outside? Well, it was an inside in that Dick Cheney was the orchestrator of the whole operation, and it was a lot of characters within the U.S. that had to do certain things to make it happen. But it was also, when I say outside, being an inside-outside job, it was the Saudi Arabian money, no secret about that anymore, that funded 9/11. And it was operatives from Mossad in Israel that were actually the ones planning the charges within the elevator shafts. And may have even been, there was either one or two things that we've deduced. We know there was either a direct energy weapon used, like what was used on Paradise, California. That was an outright attack or it was a suitcase type nuke that could have been planted, around the 50th floor of both Twin Towers. But the fact of the matter is, and nobody with a right thinking mind can explain to me how those towers 1 and 2 imploded into their own footprints in faster than free fall speed.
Right.
With just with airplanes hitting the upper level. I didn't want to get into a 9/11 tirade, but it's such an important piece of the whole Patriot Awakening story. Donald Trump knows the whole deal with 9/11. And I'll just say this to your listening audience: we're getting very close to having the opening or the reinvestigation of the events of 9/11. That I'm almost assured that's going to happen, based on what I know about the District Court of New York and some of the proceedings that are taking place up there. So now, stand by on that one. The world's going to know soon.
Right. Let me ask you a question real quick. When President Trump had run for his presidential running, he had talked about draining the swamp. Now, do you see that he's cleaning house first before he starts hitting the Democratic Party?
Oh, it's both ways. There are swamp creatures on both sides of the aisle. It's not something that's restricted to the Democrats. There's the thing that people have to know, one of the main things that Donald Trump realized when he came into the presidency, he had pretty much been briefed on the depth of the pedophilia and the satanic cult rings that basically control so many politicians throughout D.C. and the world, for that matter. So many of them have been blackmailed. They come into office, they're given some kind of sedative that puts them out. Pictures are taken, with them naked in bed with children or women or whatever, and then they show them the pictures and say, "You will do what we say." And there's been a lot. A classic case in point is Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham was obviously heavily compromised by John McCain and others. And so, up until just a few weeks ago, really, John McCain was a globalist, and he was one of the Patriots' arch enemies. And we all knew it. We knew he was a globalist, just like Mitt Romney. God bless all my wonderful Mormon friends out here in Utah, out west where I am. But, they made a terrible decision when they voted him in as senator for Utah.
Right.
That Dr. Kennedy, he was a big Trump supporter, and he was, I'm not going to say he was voted for him, but I don't know. I didn't know any of my Mormon friends that voted for Romney, because a lot of them, run in the same circles we do. They're patriots. And Romney's one of the biggest globalists you'll ever see. So beware of wolves in sheep clothing.
Exactly.
He's one of them.
And that's a scripture in the Bible, too. I like how you quote the Bible. What we're going to do right now is we've got a lot of people online right now. I'm hoping that they're calling to ask you a question. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the phone lines right now. We're going to take one person at a time.
By area code.
Yeah, by area code. And what you're going to do is you're going to ask Mr. Motley your question, or if you have a statement. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mute you back again. So here's your chance. If you want to call Mr. Motley, maybe ask him a question, or you have a comment for him, and make sure your comments are respectful. Otherwise, we will be hanging up on you. The phone number is 605-472-5384 with the PIN number 161335. We're going to go to our first question, our first call.
So area code 208. Okay. Go ahead. What's your question?
That's Idaho.
Yes.
You're on, caller. Hello? Did you have a question for Mr. Motley?
Hmm.
Well, let's go to the next one.
We'll go to the next one. Area code 505.
Hello, caller. You're on. Do you have a question for Mr. Motley? Hello?
Are they muted? Are they muted out or something?
No, I unmuted them.
Yeah, we're unmuting them one at a time.
One at a time.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I never had that happen on my radio show, but that's okay.
Let's see. Area code 216. Hello. Are you there? Area code 216. Well, what's going on?
I think you guys got a problem there with hearing what them calling in. I really do, because I just can't imagine 3 in a row like that.
There's a lot of times people just call in because they want to listen through the phone line.
That too, yeah.
So, well, we'll skip the questions right now. Mr. Motley, you're associated with Hempworx.
Well, we got 216 back. Hold on, 216. Are you there?
Just mute that.
Okay, I'm gonna. Let's see here. All right.
Okay, Mr. Motley, you're associated with a company called Hempworx. Can you talk to us about it, what it's all about, and how a person can be involved?
Absolutely. Man, I'm so glad you asked me that question, because this has been the most amazing thing I think I've ever been involved in, other than being a Marine, for 22 years. What it is, well, let me go back a minute. This is very important that everybody understand this and to lay some groundwork. In December, President Trump signed the Farm Bill.
Okay.
And the Farm Bill was being pushed by Mitch McConnell from Kentucky, because Kentucky is one of these states that has been given some sort of authorization to grow hemp, even though hemp for the last 80 years, since 1937, has been considered a controlled substance. See, the globalists, or the Illuminati, the evildoers, didn't want the American farmers to keep growing hemp because it had such a powerful effect on the human body. Okay. And so in 1937, they came out and said, that's it, you can't grow it anymore. Well, now I learned all of this stuff in a crash course over the last several months, but listen to this, guys, and your listening audience is going to be amazed at this. Did you know that each human being has what's called an endocannabinoid system? I had never heard of that in my life.
Yeah,
had you guys been taught about that in school?
No, I've never heard of that.
No. Well, get this. I got a doctor friend now. She's an MD. And when she went through medical school, she never heard the terminology endocannabinoid system. But I'd like everybody to start doing some research and look that up, because you got one, whether you know it or not. And this endocannabinoid system has these receptor sites that are all in your organs and all over your body. And they're receptor sites that need to have cannabinoids put into the body, and then these receptors pull it in and do all kinds of amazing things as far as healing and relieving pain and inflammation and on and on and on. I mean, the list of things that these cannabinoids do when introduced to the body are just endless, okay? So they launched this Hempworx, and the thing has been, in last year, in 2018, they had an 1,100% growth. They shipped out, they had a brand new warehousing facility. They shipped out 700,000 packages of CBD oil all over the world to the countries where they were allowed to ship the THC-free CBD oil. And then they did $100 million in revenue for the year.
Holy
so
cow.
Let me tell you what that means. If you go to any MBA school, like at Wharton, where President Trump went, or if you go to Harvard or Stanford, in that MBA school, they teach a phenomenon called critical mass momentum. Now, this is very important that everybody out here pay attention. Grab your pen and paper and listen to this. When any company in America, or the world for that matter, starts out, they go through the formulation stages, they go through tooling up, getting their logistical operations in place, and then they chug along. Well, if they hit that, the magical number is 50 million a month, or 5 million. The key is 5 million per month, or 50 million per year. Now, when a company hits that, if they have the infrastructure to support the demand, the company will go vertical. And on the growth chart, you just see this thing go from obscurity to straight vertical. It's happened with every company out there. You know, Nike, Reebok, Kentucky Fried Chicken, you name it. They all went vertical. And then when they it's like a rocket. And then when they get to a certain point of what they call market saturation, the thing will start to peter out and it'll level out. And then if you sit back and look at it, it looks like an S. It's in the shape of an S.
Right.
Starts out slow, goes straight up, tapers out, and then the smart business owners will find ways to keep. It's called a replicating S curve. Well, the smart owners like Josh and Jenna, they'll find ways to continually replicate that S curve so that the growth of the company continues on. Now, here's what I want to tell y'all. I know for a fact, and I almost got my MBA, but I dropped out and didn't finish, but I know what I'm talking about here. This company's going to be $1 billion company, without a doubt. Okay. So what I'm doing is, when I got involved on the 3rd of January, I rolled up my sleeves, I jumped in, and I started calling friends, and texting, and, you know, making video, doing everything I possibly could. Well, I don't know what the number is now, but somebody sent me a text yesterday. I don't like knowing the numbers because I just do my job and do what the company tells me to do, and I figure the numbers will take care of themselves.
Right.
Well, somebody texted me yesterday and they said, "Congratulations, Steve! You just got 120 affiliates in Hempworx." I said, 120? I didn't want to know that. I didn't want to know the number because, you know, I don't like focusing on numbers. It, you know, messes with my head a little bit. So I think if I'm talking to people and I say, "Listen, this is something you really ought to do," you know, and I give them my website, I just expect them to go there because, you know, and another thing people always ask me, they say, "Steve, what's your secret? You must be doing something everybody else is not." Yeah, I am. You know what I'm doing? I only talk to intelligent, open-minded people that know how to analyze facts and are self-motivated.
Right. If
that's not the person I'm talking to, next. Because if I'm talking to somebody like that, and I put my website in front of them, and I say, "Listen, guys, this is something you need to take a look at." And you know, and this is what'll happen if you don't. You just won't ever see what you could have done. You'll never reach your full potential financially. Now, last time I checked, most of the Americans that I know, they have a job. They have a job they go to every day because they got to earn their way and put food on the table, pay the mortgage, and this and that. Well, what if I could show them a way that for $20 they could get involved in a company like this and get in front of the hemp revolution and ride that wave, that economic wave, all the way to just wherever they want to go to? And what if they were working with an absolutely perfect company that had a compensation plan that pays you like you can't believe? Now, let me just tell you that part real quick.
Okay.
So I get in there, you know, my hair's on fire, and I'm just running around like a wild man. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm sharing my website and telling people. And one of these gals, I got these ladies, between myself and the very top of the company, there are 7 incredible women. And I call them my earth angels because they help me. I'm out here talking to people, getting them signed up, but then my earth angel support ladies come in and help these people get plugged into the Facebook groups and make sure they're on auto ship and make sure they understand how to maximize the compensation plan. They're doing the stuff that I don't have time to do. And so they recognize that each person on a team, every team member, you know, this is something we recognized as Marines. You know, you got your strengths and your weaknesses, but you have to accentuate everything. You have to bring it together in complete harmony and balance. And I will tell you this, guys, before I joined this company, now nobody recruited me. Nobody told me about this. I found it myself. I found it 6 months ago, but I would not touch it until I didn't know about the Farm Bill. I didn't know Mitch McConnell was pushing that. I didn't know that the hemp that's used by Hempworx is grown on organic certified farms in, wait for it, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
The home of Mitch McConnell. You see what's going on here?
So,
now look.
So actually, somebody getting involved.
I had a crazy.
Go ahead.
What's that?
So actually, anybody getting involved into the hemp, you're actually helping the farmers of the United States.
Yes, and this is why the other night, you know, I'm a crazy guy. You know, y'all, if you watch my YouTube channel, there's no telling what I might do, but that's okay. It keeps everybody on edge, expect the unexpected kind of thing. But the fact of the matter is, I had a dream several nights ago, and it was one of the more vivid dreams I've ever got. It was one I had, and when I got up out of bed, I was sitting on the side of the bed, and I was like shaking my head, wondering. I was thinking, was that real or was that Memorex? I don't know if I actually experienced that or if it was just a deep dream. Well, anyway, guess where I was? I was in the Oval Office. I was in the Oval Office. Listen to me now. If this happens, if this comes to fruition, you guys remember, you heard it on the Dan and Jason, Two Guys on a Mic show on Today, okay? But anyway, I saw myself in that Oval Office with the president doing our photo ops and talking and everything. And guess who was with me? A whole big group of my Motley crew, Hempworx team members.
Nice. And
you
Two Guys in a Mic was with you too, right?
I bet they were. I think they were. But let me tell you this. You want to call it? Hey, you can call me crazy, but let me tell you how the Lord works. The next day, you would not believe how many messages I got from people, I ain't going to say the U.S., all over the world that had the same dream. Now, you call me crazy. I ain't going to say nothing else. I'm done with that. But that is an absolute truth. So I don't know. Were they pulling my leg? I don't think so. These people sounded very sincere that contacted me. But
well,
God works in mysterious ways.
Yes, He does, and I've got a relationship with God myself, and I've had things occur to me like that also. So I'm 100% behind you on that. I know exactly what you're talking about. So why don't you quickly tell us the health benefits of CBD oil?
Well, like I said, we all have a endocannabinoid system. So when you introduce these drops, and I'll tell you this, and this is not a sales pitch or anything. I'm not into that. But our product is the purest on the market. I mean, when you look at our lab testing, our facilities, on and on ad nauseum, you'll see that Josh and Jenna spared no expense to make sure. See, it's a wonderful thing when you can step forward on a mic like this and tell the world that you've got the purest. I mean, and I love it when Dr. Markham gets on I do a lot of calls. I do a lot of conference calls.
Okay.
I'm doing one tonight, as a matter of fact, at 9:00 Eastern. I'm doing a big Hempworx call, and I'd love to invite all your listeners to come on. I'd like to invite you guys and any friends you got.
Why don't you give us the phone number? Why don't you say?
Oh yeah, let me give it out to you. Here it is. Okay, buddy. Thank you. It's 302-202-1108. Again, that's 302-202-1108. And the PIN code is 210-911#. 210-911#. We'd love to have you on the call.
And it's
anyway,
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock Eastern. 9 o'clock Eastern. Yes, sir. Adjust your clocks accordingly. Okay, so what I was saying is the purity of the product is paramount. You've got to make sure, and that's another thing. If your product isn't what you claim it is, but we have a 30-day, no questions asked, full refund on your product, but you got to return the bottle. You have to return the empty bottle to the company, and they'll refund. We don't get a lot of returns, guys. I can tell you, we don't get a lot of returns. And you know what else is funny? I got to tell you, I've been watching this. It's the craziest thing. A lot of the folks coming in with me now, I've got 120 some. I think it's more than that now, but 120 people have joined with me and said, Steve, I want to do this business. I want to do what you're doing. I want to make the money. I want to get in front of that hemp wave, and ride it with you, because I believe what you're saying is true. And it is true. And truth, guys, we call ourselves truth seekers and patriots, but when you speak the truth, it has a certain resonance about it. It has a certain energy that if you're speaking the truth, the people in the listening audience, if they're on the same similar frequency or wavelength, that truth that you're speaking is going to resonate with both their heartstrings and their mind, and it's going to cause them to take action. And so, I hope many of your listeners on this call will take action. Now, I'm not going to give out my information about Hempworx and how people can sign up with me, because I would much rather sign up the two of you and then have you give it out to your people. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not like that. This is not the Steve Motley show. If you notice, if those of you that are already in Hempworx, or those of you that will be joining shortly, because I can't imagine why you wouldn't, but if you get in there in your back office, first thing you're gonna notice is this company is just amazing. Everything they do is so tight, clean, crisp. It's perfect. And so you get in the back office and you'll see a little link that says leaderboard. Now, when you click on that, that will show you the top recruiters for the month of January. Now, after midnight on the 31st, that thing goes back to 0, and it's like a contest. For those people like I'm a competitor. I like contests. I like doing things. And I remember the first day I signed up, I looked in there and I saw they had a contest, and the contest said the person that can recruit the most people during the month of January will win an all expenses paid trip to the convention in October. Now, every year the company has an annual convention, and this year it's going to be in Las Vegas in October. And I said, man, I want to go to that. And I'm encouraging everybody to go to that, because it's going to be like there's going to be so many Patriots there, not just Patriots, but, going to be a lot of Motley Crue Patriots there, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But,
right.
They said, okay, if you do this. So I just took off out the gate, and I said, well, I'm going to see if I can win that. Well, it looks like I don't think anybody's going to catch me at this point, but if they do, I'm number 1 right now in the whole company.
Okay.
But if anybody does catch me, I wish them luck, and I hope it's somebody on the Motley Crue that catches me, because of course that would mean that I would probably make a little buck or two off something they're doing, because this thing is all volume driven. And let me just tell you this: I got to share this with you. I'd be remiss if I didn't. And I'm gonna come back. I want to finish about the product, but listen to this. So this past Thursday, it was Friday morning comes along, and these ladies I talked about, they're just fabulous. We all on Facebook together, and we open up our messengers, and I shoot a video every morning to my upline friends, and I give them a list of people that I need them to help me with. Maybe this person had trouble signing up for whatever reason, or this person's got a question about the product, so the doctor answers it. So we got a team thing going on here, likes of which I haven't seen. I mean, it's divinely blessed. It's synergy like you've never seen. But the other day, I'm really getting sidetracked. So Friday, one of my upline ladies called, and she was on Facebook, and she said, Steve, she said, you know what, you missed getting paid again. I said, what are you talking about? She said, you haven't set up your bank information in your back office. And I go, what? So anyway, I went in there and looked, and I had started setting it up, but I had put my routing number in, but I forgot to put the account number in. So there was the routing number saved with no account number, so they couldn't pay me. Well, now, I had been so busy sharing this with people that I didn't even look in there to see, how much money they were talking about. I had no idea how much money I'd made over the last 3 pay periods. Well, she said, do you realize how much money you just left? You'll get it next week. But I said, well, that's okay. I don't really want it right now, but next week will be better, because I'm getting ready to go to Las Vegas next week. I'm leaving on the 1st of February to go down to Las Vegas to meet these owners, and kind of kick the tires and go in the warehouse. I'm hoping to do some videos to upload on my YouTube channel, that sort of thing. Well, anyway, so my friend Becca told me, she said, go in there and look how much money you made. And so I looked. I couldn't find the link, and then I saw it, because I haven't been through my training yet.
Right.
So they said that they're mad at me because I haven't sat down and gone through the training. But I said, look, I ain't got time right now. I got to win that contest, and so I'll come back and train later. But so anyway, I went in there and looked at the money, and the first check, or the first pay period, and that goes from Thursday midnight to Thursday. First one was $15. Okay. Okay. And then the second one, let me just say, it was in the hundreds, just shy of 1,000.
Wow.
Okay.
All in 2 weeks.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait. My friends just told me it's a 60-day money-back guarantee. I lied. It's not 30-day. It's 60-day money-back guarantee. Okay. So then I said, and my eyes are moving down this thing, and I'm looking at that third paycheck. And I said, that's it. Okay, I will not tell y'all how much that third one was because we can't make any claims. You know, we got to do. I'll do a disclaimer right now and say I don't know what you'll make because I don't know how motivated you are and dedicated you are. But I can tell you this: if you don't do this, you won't make anything. You miss every shot you don't take. Right. And if based on the variables that I've laid out today about the hemp revolution and the signing of the farm bill and the fact that this is the most perfect company you'll ever see and the compensation plan, you know, the way they pay us, the way these network marketing companies work, a normal company like Starbucks or something like that, they have a huge advertising budget. You know, they advertise on TV, on the internet, all these places. But see, a company like Hempworx, they don't have an advertising budget. Steve Motley is their advertising. You know, two guys and a mic would be their advertising if you guys decide to join. You see, so they said, okay, look, how much do we really need to make as a corporate headquarters? They came up with a figure of about 15%. So these guys are paying out a potential. Now, everything is a potential because you got to earn it. They gonna throw the money. They gonna put the money out there like a carrot dangling on a stick, and they saying, "If you want this money, come and get it." And that was the attitude I took. I went and got it, and I can tell you, I'm gonna make more money this January, this first month of the year, than I've ever made in my life.
Wow,
ever.
That's awesome.
And when I retired from the Marine Corps, you got to understand, I decided I was never going to work for anybody else again, and I ended up traveling all over this country, spending a lot of money I'd saved up on active duty. I went to workshops, seminars, you name it. I wanted to know, how do these people make money on the internet? And so I figured it out. I broke the code. I never made the big time, but I made a lot more than most people. You know, I made a handsome salary. Well, I was making, I'll be honest with you, the most I ever made was just shy of 10 grand a month.
Nice.
Now that's not big time. You know, that's not the 100 grand stuff, but I mean on a monthly basis.
Right.
But the potential that everybody has with what Josh and Jenna have put together here is, imagine if I told you that for $20 you could have your own CBD home-based business. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, CBD just happens to be the hottest product in the world today, in front of the biggest trend, hemp. All right, and then what are you doing there? Tell me.
Right now, we're broadcast worldwide. You are.
Are you on YouTube? How do I get to you on YouTube?
Jason, can you give them some?
Yeah, go to just go to the Two Guys and a Mic channel, and it should say live on there.
No, he's asking how he can go live worldwide.
No. I know how to go live.
Okay.
I just haven't done it. No, I know. I just didn't realize we were broadcasting through YouTube. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Now, how many did you? I want to see this. Okay.
Yep, we're live on YouTube. They can they can totally see us.
Yep.
Are we live right now? Can people hear us right now?
Yes.
Yep. Yes, they can.
Okay, gotcha. So.
And when I say worldwide, we have some of the shows. We have a lot of people from the UK that go to our chat lines and they chat with us live. So yeah, you are worldwide live right now, my friend. The last thing we were talking about was the CBD oil and how hemp has been clicking up and is becoming the thing of the future. So if you want to continue there.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, you know, this, like I said, this is some really important information you're hearing today because it all happened so rapid. You know, it caught me kind of by surprise when President Trump signed that farm bill. I didn't realize. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I just, and sure. Anyway, when President Trump signed that farm bill, I had no idea of the implications and ramifications that it would have so far and wide. And so if I had I known, I probably would have gotten started with Hempworx in December. But it wasn't until after right after the first of the year that I learned that one of the most important pieces of that farm bill was authorizing the farmers to once again grow hemp after an 80-year hiatus.
Right.
80 long years we went without the ability to have hemp, and now it's back. And with that, it took the hemp oil off the federal registry. There were a lot of questions among a lot of people, myself included, about hemp oil. And, some of the states like Texas were a little shaky about whether you could ship it in there. And so I just didn't want to get involved in anything where I had to worry about, whether the legalities were going to conform to what I was trying to do. And so, but when I heard about the farm bill, that gave everybody a green light to come join companies like Hempworx. And so, like I said earlier, I had already discovered the company 6 months earlier. And when I saw the compensation plan, I went, oh my God, I got to do this, because I think I can make this work.
Well,
so I did.
Steve, let me break in real quick, just for a bit of information for everyone. Hemp, alcohol, and marijuana were all legal until Prohibition. And when Prohibition was over, they legalized alcohol, but they left out the hemp and the marijuana, and that's where it stems from.
Yeah, but you have people like Andrew Mellon, Randolph Hearst of the DuPont family who were running paper mills, and hemp was a cheaper way of making paper. And of course, I'm sure they had friends in high places. You know what I mean, Steve?
The founding fathers all grew hemp. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington. The draft of the Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. Hemp, it was mandatory. After. Excuse me. Take over a minute. I got to grab something to drink, guys. Take over a second.
Okay. So the Declaration of Independence was written on hemp paper. That's interesting information.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that I didn't know. So,
and the thing is, like I said, the paper companies were being beat out by the hemp products. They were cheaper, easier to make. So they, of course, like I said, having friends in high places, they decided to try and get laws to pass to make it illegal, and they got their wish.
Right.
Well, let me give you some background information. I'm not sure you guys are aware of it, or your listeners may not be, or many of them are. But you mentioned how hemp and cannabis and all that was legal up to a certain point. Well, it was the CIA that is responsible for what happened to the entire. Not the CIA, the Illuminati. It was the Illuminati and the globalists, the deep staters, who were responsible for the demise of hemp. And then many, many years later, when the CIA was developed in 1947, they were some of the ones to get in on the early illegal drug trade throughout the world. But it didn't start with marijuana or cocaine down in Latin America. It started with opium and heroin from the Golden Triangle. And how that came about. Now, this is fascinating. I'm just going to open the door to it. And those of you that are taking notes, you might want to look into this, because it's a fascinating study. But at the end of World War II, we had Operation Paperclip, where all of these Nazi scientists were funneled through Rome and secretly brought to the United States and given new identities. About half of them more than half ended up in the U.S., and the other half ended up in Russia. And so thus began the space race. NASA, all these SS Nazi scientists ended up with NASA. A lot of them did. A lot of them went to Los Alamos and various places. But the fact of the matter is, given the number of Nazi scientists that came over, the Nazis never really ever lost the war. They just came over here and infiltrated deep within the American government, and they've had power control in different areas throughout the years. But that's not what I want to discuss. Here's the thing you need to remember. At the end of World War II, the Americans were real concerned about the aggressive communist movement throughout Europe, especially in places like Italy. And many of you you quasi-historians out there, you know this stuff. But Italy was a hotbed, and and there were other areas they didn't want it. They didn't want the communism cropping back up in Germany and all these other countries. And so the genius like Alan Dulles, they were, I say that loosely, they were not real geniuses, they were demons, but they were smart. They were Wall Street lawyers and so forth. Alan Dulles had served as he was in Geneva, Switzerland during World War II, serving with the OSS, and he was the key man in bringing the Nazis back to America in Operation Paperclip. But anyway, all that aside, so Dulles and a bunch of his demon cronies, they got together there in D.C. and decided that the best thing they could do to prevent the onslaught of communist hordes moving into these European countries would be to leave behind a certain number of forces. They called them stay-behind forces. And so what they decided, they picked a lot of the seasoned veterans, war veterans from World War II. They kept a few of them in place, and then they brought in all these fresh bodies that were a little bit too young to make it into the full-blown World War II, but they were, itching for a fight, and they got there a little bit too late to fight the Nazis, but they were now going to fight the communists in these stay-behind forces. So now this is where it gets interesting. And so they're saying, okay, but this is going to cost us a bunch of money. Now, how are we going to fund these stay-behind forces? Well, this one character who had spent a lot of time working with Shanghai Shek in his battles against Mao Zedong and the Chinese communists, they decided that, hey, we got access to a lot of this opium over here in the Golden Triangle. Why don't we do this? Why don't we get some of the former Italian mafia bosses in New York City working the harbors? We'll put them to work for us. Now, several of the this is an interesting thing. I won't get into details, but just superficially, but several of the former mob bosses ended up getting drafted into the military, and several of them were actually war heroes over in Germany, fighting, the Italians and the Nazis. And so when these guys came back to New York City and picked up where they left off, Alan Dulles and a lot of these guys who ended up becoming the core of the CIA, which formed in 1947 as a result of the alien craft that crashed in Roswell. That's right. It was real.
That's
yes,
right.
It was. That's a story for another story. A story for another time.
Okay.
But anyway, so they had to figure out this way. So ended up, they shipped all this opium from the Golden Triangle to New York City, to the harbors, and that's where the mafia took it over. And then the mafia was the distribution arm. And guess what their game plan was? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
They decided that what they would do is get all of the black folks in Harlem, all the wonderful jazz musicians and singers, they would take the heroin down to Harlem and get all the black folks hooked on it. And then they figured they assumed that none of the white folk would be so crazy as to shoot up heroin. Ha! Little did they know the white people are the dumbest of them all. And so, now, I love my race. I'm white. I'm white and proud of it, right? And I can't stand all this crap because, white people in the world are a minority. We're not a majority. The people of color outnumber us. So all that stuff is just stuff. It's just that political ideologies. It's that stinking thinking coming from CNN and MSNBC. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
the stinking thinking. That's good.
Well, it's good. And that's something when I got involved in Hempworx, I decided, I'm going to have to have a posture or a mindset that people are going to be able to. I got to lead by example. Okay.
Exactly.
That's what I said. I said I can't expect the Hempworx folks, the 120 some plus that have decided they want to make money with this, that have joined me directly. Now these people that are directly attached to me, right? If they out there and they say, Steve, show me what to do. Well, yeah, go look at the leaderboard. You see that guy at the top? That's me. You want to be there? Come and get it. Do what I tell you to do. First thing, you got to get signed up.
Right.
If you don't pay the $20 and join, you're not going to succeed. That's the first way you fail. Second way you fail is to get started and then quit. Oh, this is too much work. I can't do this. I can't tell my friends about this hemp oil. They'll think I'm a drug addict. No, they won't think you're a drug addict. They'll think you're a freaking hero once you get them going and they start making some money.
Right.
You ought to see my kids. My kids are pinging off the walls about this thing. I can't believe it. I'm pinching myself. I think I done died and gone to heaven, man. My kids working with me in a business? Are you kidding me? But you know what I'm saying, guys? This right here, Hempworx, is going to be a tremendous force for good worldwide.
Excellent.
And the company don't know it yet, but I got a little project that I'm working on. I'd like to share it with you if you don't mind.
Okay.
It's called Paradise, California. When I saw what happened in Paradise, California, I said to myself, somebody somewhere has got to do something about this. And you know when we a lot of times we'll do that as human beings. We look at a bad situation and we'll say something like, man, I hope somebody will do something about this. Well, who is that somebody?
You.
Well, guess what? That somebody might be you. What if you and I can do something about it? What if we're making enough money to where you can fire your boss, literally? You can leave whatever dead-end job you're working at right now. I mean, if you have one, I don't know. You might be a freaking brain surgeon for all I know, and you keep doing it, but I might need your help. People say I need your help now, but I don't know. But anyway, I'm not asking anybody to quit doing what you're doing now until you can afford to do so. You know, early to bed, early to rise until you can afford to do otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Because once you make enough money, look, I'm working like Einstein right now. I'm working around the clock. I don't know if any of y'all saw my last video, but it was funny as all get up. I did a video last night, and I was a little sleep deprived, okay, I admit. But during the shooting of the video, I fell asleep. And I actually took my sunglasses off and looked at the camera, and I thought the camera was talking to me, man. And I swear I wasn't on drugs. I was just sleep deprived. But it was the funniest thing. And my friends have been calling me today and sending me texts. They said, Steve, I was rolling in the floor, man. You fell asleep. You might as well have been sleepwalking on that video. You know, it was crazy, man. But anyway, seriously, guys. We got our hands on something here, the likes of which I've never seen before. And, you know, y'all know me. I don't like hype. I really don't. I don't like spin. But I fell into something here that's so good that I can't deny it. But let me get back to the story about the opium. So what they did, they brought that opium to New York City. They got all these wonderful jazz musicians and stuff hooked on it. Many of them, it led to an early death. And then it spread into the white population, of course, and the rest is history. And then the CIA, Dulles and those guys, which became the early components of the CIA, they realized that this was a cash cow, and so they've been dealing in drugs ever since. You know, Medina, Arkansas, was a huge CIA drug operation, and the Clintons were heavily involved in it, but so was.
Well, aren't they getting it? Aren't they getting the heroin from Afghanistan or something like that?
Oh, they were. They were until the Marines raided CIA Langley headquarters a number of months back. That video that I did I had some inside scoop on that deal. But let me tell you what happened. I did a video when I got the scoop on that. When I found out the Marines had actually raided Langley CIA headquarters, and a lot of people questioned that, and I said, listen, you idiots, unless you've been there, you don't know that there is no press coverage of Langley. And what they did, the Marines flew these OV-22 Ospreys all around in the air above Langley, and it was just causing all kinds of commotion. But then it wasn't some big strike force. The OV-22s never landed on the Langley. Maybe one of them did, but only one. But the rest of the Marines that went into Langley CIA headquarters, they came in on Humvees and stuff. They went right through the gate. I mean, it wasn't an attack. I mean, they went in, they took the locks off the doors. They knew exactly which offices they were going to. It was a military operation. And they went in and grabbed the computers and the files and all that stuff. You got to understand, the CIA is about the most rogue organization it is. It's the most rogue organization on the planet, even to this day.
Well, sure,
and
they
got to
can
be rooted out.
Sure, they can make you disappear, and nobody else would ever find you.
They could.
Yeah.
But we're weeding them out.
Well,
the alliance. See,
right.
the good guys have been fighting the bad guys for a long, long time.
So
it's called the alliance. The alliance goes all the way back to President Eisenhower.
So let me ask you something real quickly, Steve. It just seems like after President Trump was elected, that special counsel against this Russian probe came up really fast. How come they're not investigating Hillary or the Obamas and Uranium One? How come we never hear anything about that anymore?
Now, you guys know what I'm going to say, right? Did you ask me that because you know what I'm going to say?
No, not really.
I think you're setting me up, but I'm going to tell you anyway.
Yes, I am.
All right. This is what I've said for months, okay? This is Steve Motley speaking. And I may be wrong, and if I am wrong, I got egg on my face. I'll wipe it off and move on. I've never, ever said on my YouTube channel that I'm a know-it-all. I've said since day one, everybody comes to my YouTube, do not believe a word I say. However, if I say something that causes you to think and strikes a resonant chord in you, you might want to take some notes, go do your own due diligence and research, and then come back and talk to me. Same thing about this Hempworx stuff. I don't care what y'all think about that, but I'll tell you what, if you're not smart enough to go do the research on what I've been talking about, then you're really missing the boat. And that's the same thing with anything. But let me tell you about Mueller. Mueller was a Marine. Mm-hmm. Mueller was a Vietnam decorated Marine lieutenant. He got a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star. Y'all have all heard the story, once a Marine, always a Marine.
Right.
Once a Marine, always a Marine. Okay, that's not a bunch of words. It's true. If you ever want to know how many Marines are in a bar, just mess with one of them.
Yes, my father and my brother are Marines, or were Marines at one time.
Okay. Well, I don't need to say anything else. Okay, but anyway, so Mueller was a Marine. Now, it's funny to me, but let's look at this. Okay, first we got Jeff Sessions recusing himself.
Right.
A lot of people think Jeff Sessions was fired by Trump. No, he was not. That was all part of the plan. Qanon has told us over and over, trust the plan. And even a lot of the smart guys, Trump supporters, they fell for the trap, and they started blasting Sessions. He wasn't doing anything. Oh yes, he was. He was doing a lot behind the scenes that you won't know about until years later when the books are written, and I may be one of them contributing some chapters to those books. Because I know some things, and I know that Sessions was a good...
All participants are unmuted. All participants are muted, and they can unmute themselves.
Okay, keep going.
Am I here?
Go ahead.
My line got muted.
No, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Go ahead.
I thought maybe I said something wrong, and you guys were chastising.
No.
I thought you had put me in prison or something, holding me back from my free speech right now. I'm just kidding. Okay, but anyway,
go ahead.
Guys, look. Okay, what was it last? I said
Jeff Sessions.
Jeff Sessions. Okay, forget about Sessions. So he had to recuse himself to get out of the way so that President Trump could nominate who? Rod Rosenstein. President Donald Trump is the guy that nominated Rosenstein, the deputy attorney general. You understand? Okay, now, yes, Rosenstein and Mueller are friends, yes. But now let's look at this. Okay, so Trump appoints Rosenstein. The day before Rosenstein appoints Mueller as special investigator Mueller spends about 3 to 4 hours in Trump Towers with President-elect Trump. I mean, no, wait a minute. When was this? Let's see. This was after the inauguration, right? Yeah. So anyway, but this is while Trump's in the towers. Anyway, Mueller's in there, and guess who else is in there? A whole bunch of these generals, to include Mattis and Flynn, whose name I had a brain fart on. All of these different generals. And who were these generals, you might ask? Well, let me tell you what happened. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but this is important for your listening audience to know. Let's go back a little bit in time. Let's go back to when Admiral Mike Rogers, 17 days after the election, Admiral Mike Rogers left the NSA, where he is the head of the NSA, National Security Agency. Now, Mike Rogers is a good guy. He's a patriot. Everybody understand that? Mm-hmm. So Mike Rogers leaves his post and gets on a plane and flies to New York City and gets a secret, ride and ends up at the Trump Tower and goes in the Trump Tower and has a secret rendezvous with President Donald Trump. And you know what Mike Rogers told President Trump?
What did he say?
Do you know what he told him, guys?
Nope, I don't.
No clue.
Oh my goodness! Oh, this is big news. He said, "You're being spied on, sir, and they've been spying on you for a long time. They've been spying on you before the election, and I can't remain quiet anymore. I've been wanting to tell you all this time, but now." Oh, no, wait a minute. This was after the election. This was before the inauguration. This is when Obama was still in office. I beg your pardon.
Okay.
Obama was still president when Admiral Rogers went to the Trump Towers to meet with President-elect Donald Trump and told him he was being spied on. President Trump and his entourage immediately packed up their trash and went to Pennsylvania to one of Trump's golf courses where they created a SCIF. A SCIF being a secure compartmentalized information facility. Right. That there's a SCIF on Air Force One. Okay, so let's listen to this. So Mueller meets with this group of gentlemen. The very next day, Mueller, who was appointed by Trump, what does he do? He appoints his old buddy Mueller as a special investigator. So I saw that, and I connected those dots a little bit, and I said to myself, you know what? Once a Marine, always a Marine. That doggone Mueller, he's rotten to the core, and I know you people out there saying, but Steve, we know Mueller's rotten. He was all involved in Uranium One. He even took some yellow cake directly over and got it to President Putin. That's right. He's dirty as they come, friends, but he used to be a Marine. And what happened, he left the Marine Corps, went to Georgetown or somewhere, got a law degree, fell in with the wrong crowd, and ended up becoming a freaking demon rat. He's a big Hillary supporter.
Right.
Big Obama supporter. He was, okay, you know what his main job was? He was brought in to be the cover guy for Dick Cheney in 9/11. He was the guy that covered Cheney's tracks. Cheney was the chief orchestrator of the 9/11 inside-outside event. And so Mueller came in as they appointed him director of the FBI. All he did was cover up for Cheney, and then he started doing a lot of other stuff. And then when Obama got elected, the tenure of an FBI director is 10 years, but he served 12 at Obama's request. Obama wanted him to stay on for another 2 because he was so rotten and so much on the tape that they knew that he was their boy. But I'm going to tell you what happened. When he was up there in that Trump Tower that day before Rosenstein appointed him, he and President Trump had a come to Jesus meeting. Seriously. And it was laid out to him that, hey, Bob, Robert, we know it all, buddy. We know when you breathe. We know how you're breathing. We know every bad deed that you're responsible for. Now, here's the deal. You either come join us right now, become a white hat, and get over here and start working for us and do what we tell you to do, or we're going to throw your butt under the prison.
Right.
It's your choice. You can do whatever you want, and we'll give you about 5 minutes to think about it. And he's surrounded by all these Marine Corps generals. And he said, and Trump and them said to him, he said, look, you know what we're going to have in the not too distant future? Now we're going to let you in on something, and you're the only one except for this august group standing here in the Trump Tower right now. Yeah, they're an august group, but he said to him, he said, we're going to tell you something, and if it leaks out, we're coming to get you. We're going to pick you up in the middle of the night barefooted and in your drawers, and we're going to haul you away in handcuffs, just like they did on Roger Stone. Let me tell you about that real quick. So everybody
Roger Stone, the raid? Go ahead.
That was a dog and pony show, friends. That was not real. But let me go back. Let me stop. Okay, this is so funny. Okay, so Mueller has read the Riot Act, and he's told in no uncertain terms, we got you by the, short hairs here, and you are either going to do what we tell you to do, or else, I mean, what's it going to be? Military tribunal? And he looks up and says, what? Oh, yeah, baby, we're getting ready to do some military tribunals. We resurrected Gitmo. Guantanamo Bay is up and running. And I will tell your listening audience right now that that's a fact. Military tribunals are taking place as we speak, and Gitmo is up and running right now.
Do you think John McCain was part of that?
What's that?
Do you think John McCain, there's a lot of talk that John McCain actually didn't die from cancer, but he was put in front of a military tribunal. Do you believe that?
That is absolutely true.
Okay.
And both John McCain and George H.W. Pappy Bush were both put before military tribunals, and they were given a choice. I mean, they went to the tribunal because they had a choice prior that either they agree to do that or it would be made public. And so they agreed to go to the tribunal. They were found guilty as charged. I won't repeat the charges. They're available. It's all going to it all come out to the public soon enough. It's just like RBG. I've said on my videos, RBG's been gone for, you know who that is, Ruth?
Yep, Ruth, Supreme Court Justice.
Ruth Ginsburg, right?
Well, Ruthie's been gone for 3 weeks.
Yep.
What do you mean, Steve? She's been gone. She's in the hospital. No, she ain't in the hospital. She's on the other side. She's in the spirit world, friends. She's playing the
harp.
Yep.
You're playing the harp. And then you watch and see. And look, this is one of the greatest travesties of justice on the planet right now. Imagine this, folks. You got a Supreme Justice, or what do you call it, Supreme Court Justice that is dead. Been dead for almost a month, and don't nobody know about it. The fake news media hasn't let out a peep about it because of the Democrats. They don't want President Trump to nominate another Supreme Court judge, especially while the government is shut down. Correct. So you guys asked me at the beginning of the show about President Trump reinstating the government and what the Republican attitude is about it. I told you he's a genius. He knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah. I have personally enough faith and confidence in President Trump to where I don't question it. Do I agree with everything? No, I'm not a teetotaler Trumper.
Right.
But there ain't much he could do that would knock me off the Trump train like that stupid Ann Coulter. That freaking wild-eyed, twisted sister, Ann Coulter. What is up with that girl? Something is not right with her.
Right.
She said, I didn't jump off the Trump train. Well, jump off the Trump train. You think we care? And Mike Cernovich. Who is Mike Cernovich? I don't even know this guy. Apparently he's some big name person on the internet. Well, he's off the Trump train now, so he can't take no more. Well, what are you gonna do, Mike? You gonna go join the Demon Rats? You and your buddy Ann Coulter?
No,
I don't know. I'm sorry.
If you,
I get a little emphatic sometimes.
Right. Now, if you look at right now, Nancy Pelosi, if you see some recent interviews with her that at different universities and television stations, she's losing her mind. I mean, she can't even talk. She can't give a straight answer without. I mean, I'm not trying to pick fun of her, but this looks like a woman who is running scared right now. You understand what I'm trying to say, Steve?
That's a woman.
Yep.
That's a woman that's in early stages of dementia, and she needs some hemp oil immediately. But I don't want anybody out here giving Nancy Pelosi any hemp oil because she's got brain freeze, man.
Yeah.
She's like, you know how if you go to Tasty Freeze or Dairy Queen, you get one of them big ice cream cones and you eat too much of it too fast, and all of a sudden you get brain freeze and you go, ooh.
Yep.
You know that feeling?
Yep.
That's Nancy Pelosi behind a mic.
But you have to have a brain.
Yep, you got to have a brain. Now, the thing about Nancy Pelosi that I always said was she's the kind of person, she turns everything against Donald Trump. If Donald Trump would throw away a piece of paper right now, she would talk about how Donald Trump hates trees. That's the kind of person she is. Before we go on, Steve, we got a caller on the line. We're going to see if we can try this, see if our caller has a question for Mr.
Okay, it's area code 505. Do you have a question for our guest?
Hello, caller.
Hello? That's funny. Only Steve comes out. The thing is, everyone else, I mean, it's all open.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. We'll have to look into that. Okay. All right.
Are you guys using, is this a freeconferencecalling.com?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm using tonight. I hope it's not a problem. Maybe it's because you guys are in Green Bay and you're in a deep freeze or something.
It could be. We were using Uber Conference at one time, and that went down. So we had to come to free conference call, but I don't know. Maybe it is because of the deep freeze. We've actually, since it started getting colder, we've had some problems with the internet. So it might be that because we had a show on Jehovah's Witnesses and everybody came out just fine.
Right.
Yeah, everything was great, and of course, we weren't in the deep freeze yet, and then we go into the deep freeze, and then everything just starts going haywire. So that's probably what it is.
Well, before.
Hey,
Okay, go ahead.
I got to tell you guys something real quick. Can I say something to you real quick about
Sure, go
Wisconsin?
ahead.
When I found out you were from Green Bay, it made me smile because my dad was a pilot, and we used to go to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, a lot in the summers to the biggest air show in the world. It was called the EAA convention. Yeah. And so I fell in love with the state of Wisconsin. Being from Virginia, I always thought that my state was, of course, I still do. I think it's one of the most beautiful states in the country, but Wisconsin is one of those places I just absolutely love. So Madison, man, I was in I drove through Madison a few years. I hadn't been there since I was about maybe 14, 15 years old. And I went through there a few years ago and just fell in love with the place again, the architecture and just the lake and, so much in Wisconsin. I was really glad to hear you guys there because I told you I'm going to come up there sometime and visit you. I'm hoping maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys can hook me up with a Green Bay Packer ticket maybe one of these days. I don't know.
Yeah, we can do that. Right now, they're just giving them away.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, you give me a Green Bay ticket, I'm definitely coming because I want to see Rodgers, while he's still on active duty there because he's one of my favorites.
Yep.
I'm a big Packer fan. I've been for years.
Awesome.
My cousin is actually Bart Starr for you Wisconsin folks.
Nice.
My mother was a Star, Starr, and always had a great respect for him. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm sorry. I just want to throw that in about Wisconsin.
Cool. Mr. Motley, we're going to wrap this up real soon. I hope someday we can have you on the show again because it's very interesting topics. Do you think you would ever come on our show again in the future?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I want to talk to you guys sometime in private, off this line,
Okay.
and let you know some of the things that I'm doing. I understand the power of podcasting. I'll tell you a little experience I had. This will be interesting for you real quick. I decided, I went to a podcast conference shortly after I started my YouTube channel, because I prior to that, I mentioned early on in the podcast that one of the motivating factors for me to start my YouTube channel, because you guys had asked me about that, was my trip to San Diego to this social media marketing thing. And I picked up enough information there, and I heard these people talking about YouTube and this and that, to learn that the biggest takeaway for me was what I said earlier, and that is be yourself. When you do a podcast or a video, you don't try to be something you're not. The people they want to hear it from a genuine person. And I think that may be a reason why my YouTube channel has gathered, quite a following, is because I am myself. And when you meet me in person, you're not going to see any different than what you see on the video. I just may not be wearing my sunglasses all the time, But the key of what I wanted to say is, so I wanted to figure out everything I could do to promote the message that I was putting out on the YouTube. So I learned about podcasting, and I just, when I want to learn something, I go to a conference. I figure I'm just going to learn from the experts, and take what they teach me and then put it into my own life. So I went to this thing in Anaheim, and it was crazy because it was fun, and I was talking to so many people. But when they were talking about this podcasting stuff, it was like sort of Greek to me. It was like going over my head, but yet it was like when Stonewall Jackson one time in the Civil War said, I don't know what this logistic stuff is, but I know I want some of it. Well, that was the way I felt about podcasting. I knew I wanted to be involved in it, but I didn't know anything about it. So I came away from that podcast thing with a renewed dedication to create a podcast. So I did. I did it on my own, and I took my YouTube videos and I converted them into MP3 downloads, and then I set my thing up on iTunes and Google Play, and I couldn't believe I was doing this. I am so non-technical you wouldn't believe it. And that's just a weakness of mine. It's my Achilles heel,
Right.
But what I can point and click, and I can get behind the camera, but that's about the extent of it. If you start getting into any kind of programming stuff, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I got to get out of here. So anyway, long story short, I created this podcast. Well, the first thing I noticed was I was getting about 10 times the number of listeners on the podcast than I was getting on my YouTube viewers.
Okay.
And anyway, it got to be overwhelming. I couldn't keep up. It was just taking too much of my time to download it and upload it. And so what I'm going to do, I've got a game plan. Now, on the March 6th through the 9th, I'm going to be down in Orlando, Florida, at what they call the PodFest Expo.
Okay.
And it's all about podcasting. And when I come away from that bad boy, I'm going to have people that I'm going to hire to run my podcast for me. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to have a mic. I'm on the phone right now, so that may be why. I don't know what the sound quality is, but I'm going to have my own mic, and I'm going to get set up right, but I'm going to get set up the way the experts and the professionals tell me to do it, because you want to know why I'm going to be down there in Orlando doing all that? You want to know one reason why?
Yes, I do.
Disneyland.
No. You dork.
Hempworx. It's called Hempworx.
Right.
When I saw how much money I've made the first 3 weeks, and I only could imagine what I'm going to make for the month of January, and then, of course, we got February, because this PodFest Expo is not until the 6th through the 9th, but you can bet I got all of my hotel accommodations And guess where I'm going to be at the end of March? I'm going to be back in San Diego at the same event that I went to that kicked off my YouTube channel. And this is going to be my 3rd straight year in San Diego at the Social Media Marketing Expo event. And guess why I'm going there this year?
Now you can say Disneyland. Because of Hempworx. Hempworx.
You got it, buddy. Now you're learning. There you go.
Now, before we close this session, Steve, you have a conference call coming tonight at 9 o'clock, correct?
That is correct.
And what is the phone number again where people can join your conference call?
Okay, grab your pen and paper, friends. Here you go. This is the one you don't want to miss. 302-202-1108. And the PIN code is 210911 pound. 210911 pound.
And this is going to be 9 o'clock tonight, Eastern Standard Time. And you're going to have a conference call about Hempworx so more people can learn about it. And what if they would like to see your YouTube channel? What do they go to?
RetiredMarineSoundsOff.com. RetiredMarineSoundsOff.com.
We'll put it in the description.
Yes. And
Thank you.
And this is Steve Motley, who has a YouTube channel. You got over 40,000 subscribers. You are a patriot. And speaking of patriot, what is your pick for the Super Bowl?
Who do you think?
I would say New England.
You got that right, man.
Again?
Hey,
Old man Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Some people might be sick of him, but I still say Tom Brady is going to be go down as the greatest of all time.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. No question. No question. Well, you know, Drew, I love Drew Brees. Now, I was pulling for New Orleans. I wanted to see, you know, New Orleans and the Patriots. That would have been the perfect matchup for me. And I really think New Orleans is better than LA.
Yep.
Personally.
Yep.
Drew Brees just had a phenomenal year. And, you know, I got back to watching NFL this year. I did the boycott thing last year. But I've been an NFL fan since I was a kid. And I just couldn't stand it anymore. I said, that's it, man. You know, life's too short. I'm not going to take something that I'm that passionate about and I love that much and just boycott it because I'm just not going to do it. Right. And so I hope my friends are not mad at me. Some of them are, but I don't care. That's okay. It's your problem.
They'll get over it.
They'll get over it.
Yep.
Hey, but I'm coming up there, guys. No kidding. I want to see the Green Bay Packers.
Well,
yes, sir. I want to.
Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you this. Every time the Packers have a home game, I have an acoustic show that I do. I play at the Holiday Inn for everybody that shows up. So.
Yeah.
I might just have to move to Green Bay. I might have to. You know what? No kidding. I might have to. Hey, I want you guys to find me a 2-bedroom apartment somewhere really cool, really nice that I could. I'm gonna buy it. I'm not gonna rent it. It's gotta be something I can buy.
There you go.
Because I'm gonna start buying up real estate properties all around. You think I'm kidding you? I'm dead serious. Find me a place I can buy. It has like a 2-bedroom, what do you call it, townhouse, something like that. And I'll come up there and buy that sucker. Because I'm gonna tell you something. The amount of money that you can make with Hempworx, you know what it's doing to me, guys? I gotta leave you one thing. I made a plan last night. I got to tell you this. I made a plan. You know, I'm a diabetic. I don't know if people know that. I'm a type 2 diabetic. I got diagnosed on my 51st birthday. I was 51 years old. And it's been a tough road to hoe. But last night, I put a down payment on a 5-day reverse diabetes retreat in Costa Rica. Wow. That's going to cost me $2,500, and that's going to be in May. Okay, So in May, I know that's where I'm going. I'm blocking my calendar. I'm not doing anything else. I'm flying down to Costa Rica. I'm going to spend 5 days down there eating. They got all you can eat food, and the food is just the best in the world for treating diabetes and all. And they educate you, and they just get you motivated. And they say when you come up out of there and you go back to America, all you got to do is continue doing what you did those 5 days down there, and you're gonna be diabetes free. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take all my nice video camera equipment with me down to Costa Rica, and I'm gonna film this whole 5 days. And the people are gonna love it because I'm gonna make them famous. But I'm gonna put it on my YouTube channel, and it's gonna be professionally done now because I got enough money to have people help me clean up my videos. You know, and I'm gonna still, you know, my friends are telling me, don't change what you're doing, Steve. Dude, just keep doing your videos. You know, and I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna change. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
So I'm not gonna change what's working, but I'm gonna get even better in some areas. And like, I've got some people that are gonna be building me a new YouTube channel just for Hempworx. So for all my YouTube followers on Retired Marine, don't worry. I'll stop talking so much about Hempworx on that channel. When I get my other full-time Hempworx channel, then I can shift everything over there. But if you think I'm ever going to do Retired Marine again and not mention something about Hempworx, you crazy. Because if I did that, I would be guilty of criminal negligence for keeping and withholding critical information from you. And I ain't going to do that. No way. I ain't going to be guilty of that, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Well, we want to thank you, Steve, for being on our show today. We want you to stay on the line because after we end this show, we still want to talk to you. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention, Jason?
I think I heard something about that thing in Costa Rica. They're going to be having on the menu. It's going to be buckets of candy corn and and Coca-Cola, a diabetic's dream. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you know what they do? Hey, they search your pockets. It's just like going into prison. They make sure you ain't got no Snickers bars and stuff like that hidden in your shoes. No, I'm gonna go clean turkey on this one, boy. When I come back, y'all gonna see a new man, man. I'm gonna do this thing.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you stay on the line, Steve. We're gonna end the show right now. So for Two Guys and a Mic.
All right. Well, I'm Jason.
And I'm Dan.
And we will see you next time. We're not exactly sure what's on the agenda for next week, but we will find out, and we will probably make a small little promo video so you can know what we're going to be doing. All right, every Sunday at 3 o'clock Central Time. And we'll have to take a look at those 2-bedroom places for Steve here.
Yeah. See
if he wants to. All right, so Steve, hold on the line. We'll be. I'm going to put you on mute here real quick, and then we're going to get you back. Hold on. Okay, well, that's the end.
Yeah, well, thanks again, Steve Motley, for being on our show. We're still looking for G-Man, Dustin Diamond.
And anybody who is a survivor of the roll-off homes in Corpus Christi, Texas. All right. Like I said, we'll make probably some small promo videos about that later on in the future so you can see that. All right, so we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.